What's up guys, Jordan from Bennett's Customs. We are back on another episode and we're working on Black Sunrise. This one's gonna be really fun. You guys know I love the finer details and intricate designs of different things. And this one's all about spark plug wires and kind of organizing them. You guys probably have been in that position where you're trying to create a really nice clean engine bay and then you got these spark plug wires kind of hanging over everything. Well, I got a really cool idea I want to do with this. I want to show you guys. Maybe it's something you can use on your motor or hot rod or whatever application you are building at home, but this one's going to be really cool. So let's get into it.
Where the new flowers grow.
In the toilet. So imagine what you find in there. All right, so here we are. This is the idea. I love flatheads, and I really like earlier style flatheads. Distributor mounted on the front timing cover. They have a really symmetrical look to them, which is quite cool. The distributor sits on the side. This one is kind of a diver's helmet, they call it. These are your spark plug leads, and they would kind of sit against like that. And then they go through these really nice, clean looking spark plug holders. It'd be really cool to create our own set, maybe out of stainless, so that again, we could potentially polish them, keep them brushed. We could sandblast them and then hit them with like a engine, or not an engine, a furniture wax. And you know, adding that custom little flared end. So I'll show you what I was thinking about with that as well. Now, with all this, we are going to apply some really nice sort of cloth lacquered spark plug wires. Noble Speed over in the States across the pond. Rick has very generously gave us a beautiful little box here. I really like the way that Rick does his stuff. He's a lot hands-on himself. Green spark plug wires, comes with all the boots and everything needed. Here's Ben's style, and it has the black and yellow tracers that go in it. Okay, so traditionally with a flathead, they would sit up on the inside between the head, I'll call it, which it is, and the intake itself, so it sits similar to this. What I'm thinking is creating maybe something that matches the curve of this valve cover, comes down, maybe floats a little bit, gives it a nice little bit of breathing room. This thing is ancient. This is like, which way did I just pull that out? I forget how these go together. Which way am I pulling it? Which way am I pulling the?
Pulling it off.
Pulling it. Which way am I pulling it? I don't think I've ever actually used this die that small. It's always been 1 3/4 inch. Look how this thing's just been through. It's been through a lot, this girl. I built, don't know how many like exoskeletons and cages for 4-wheel drive stuff with this thing. What's everyone using for tube benders out there? Maybe up for a bit of a facelift. Nah, I love this thing. Just needs a bit of tender loving care. Yeah, this will work. I don't know if you guys saw in the background over there. Midnight Special's running again. If you caught our last video, I gave it all those little subtle details and touches that I've always wanted to do to sort of, it's never gonna be finished unless, I don't know, someone else takes the reins and they finish it the way that they want to. We took it out to the World War II airstrip and had a lot of fun with it. But it's for sale now. So if any of you crazy cats out there feel like you want a really nice car that was a lot of fun and is a lot of fun to drive, hit us up, because we'll be happy to ship her internationally, worldwide. So I've just raided Liam's scrap bin. Surprisingly, he throws a lot of this stuff away with the balustrade stuff, but I'm going to stick this end in. No, that end. When you're using one of these, make sure you grease your dies, both sides. Just helps the metal be pulled through a little bit easier. If it's just, metal on metal with no lubrication, it can score the stainless. But I'm thinking that's going to be long enough there. I just made a super ghetto piece of flat bar just to hold this in place. And I've explained this in multiple videos when using this, like this is like a pull through style, like it's not your traditional kind of kinker that's over there. It actually it draws the metal through. And there is a bit of a math to it. Pirate 4x4, if you go search that on Google and do like tube bending, there's like the most incredible tutorial. And I remember probably like 20 years ago, I read into it and lots of trial and error, figured out how to bend the material, and it worked really well. I'm just going to grease the back of the stainless as well, just to allow that to be pulled through. All right, a short little handle. So we're going to try and get that basically going. We're going to see whether or not we can get a nice 90 degree without it distorting it all. The bigger the handle too, the better. I don't know whatever happened to the handle I had on here. You can just see how much that grease helps. Okay, so that is about 90 degrees there, and I'm going to go over because I want it to sort of come back. I think that's probably enough. Let's go hold it up and see. I'm a little bit worried about my length here. I may have got a little excited. Yeah, so you can see it pulled it quite nicely. It actually does look like it kinked it a little bit, and that could do to my sloppy die setup. Yeah, it has. Which doesn't really look that bad. It's kind of neat. So you can see in here, and that is just due to kind of my sloppy setup that I've had in there. If it's tighter and pulls through easier, you won't get that. But let's just go over and see what that's going to look like. Good length out there. As long as that's my top right there, I'm going to try and put this in there and there. Okay, so let's put that back in. I reckon it might be a bit too far away, but let's just try. Let's just try and see what it does. And I kind of like that it's sort of kinking it a little bit. It's not totally perfect. Maybe similar to what I'm trying to do that replicates the Flathead ones. you know, with they got a nice gradual bend here and then a little kink there, and we're almost replicating that. So even kind of off the edge like that's kind of neat too. And then if that was flared right there, that's actually not a bad position like that. Just thought it would look kind of cool if it was a bit higher up. Also, thank you to everyone that's been donating to the channel on the Shout Us a Beer link. This is from Jim from Alabama, and he wrote, as a 80-year-old shade tree mechanic, I'm so fascinated with your old school approach to hot rodding. Never let anyone tell you that you talk too much, because you teach me something in every single episode. So keep it up. It means a great deal to both Ben and myself, to the channel, and you know, like it really helps us keep that creativity going and the I guess drive and ambition to really grow the channel and you know, kind of take you guys along for the ride. And for everyone that has purchased t-shirts as well, thank you again. Same deal. It just really helps the channel and the business grow. And so it's been an amazing journey so far. What I'm going to try and do is just lightly tack this together without totally burning myself, which is going to be quite interesting to do. I think I'll just do it real quick if I can get a quick and dirty one on there. I shouldn't burn myself too much. Like a little hose clamp with a... Oh, all that, and I forgot to put the ground on. Done that a few times. Ooh, that feels good to me. Hopefully I can get it. Got it. I may blend it, make it all look like a beautiful, nice one piece. Or more down like that. What do you think? Big fella's gonna get some food. He's got a fridge full. Mom bought new groceries. Well, we could kind of go so it has like a bit of a gap all the way around it. Or we just kind of bring it up tight like that. Food guy. So now we have it, bends this way and then kind of comes up almost at a 45 degree, maybe less, 22 and a half, who knows, I'm guessing, totally. But let's go over back to the car. So we got our nice little trumpet there. And I'm thinking something like that, I think would look quite neat. Just considering on the end what to do here. So I could either weld like a stainless washer on there and put a grommet in so the wire would actually come directly out the center of it, and I could sort of radius the edges. As you've seen on this one, they've gone the opposite way. Or I could maybe dig around and see if I have something that's like sort of conical. Is that a word? Conical? Conical. Something that I could press down and maybe just shrink the edges in a little bit. Or do we put another flare on it? What do you think? What should we do? So you all know what that is for the lathe, and I'm just gently using it, but it does work. So we're just going to press it in just like that, and then we will get that result. So I've pushed this one out a little bit farther than I wanted to, and I think it looks kind of neat. It sort of bulges a little bit more. So I'm going to try and replicate that. Should have my safety glasses on. And I'm just making sure it is nice and level. Just going to release this a little bit. And then we're just going to give it shit. No, put lubrication on it.
Wouldn't hurt. Is that what?
Yeah, that's what I was going for. That's pretty cool, I reckon. Boom. Look at that. Just the coolest little mini flare you've ever seen in your life. Look at that. It's like, it's cute. Imagine a few of those. Or what about one inside the other, and then we could even do another one and just have it floating. Hey?
Well, let us know if you want to buy any.
Yeah, let us know if you guys need any flaring done for your cool hot rod or your, I don't know, whatever else you're building for your flares. Let us know if you want us to flare your pants. Ric Flair. I am being aware of our seam that's in the stainless as well. In the flare, you can just subtly see it. So I'm just making sure it's at the bottom or at the back side. Will I purge this? Most definitely not. Is there an issue? Is there, yeah, should I? No, doesn't really matter. Could I? For sure. Whoa, has someone put an invisible chalk in front of your tire? Fully invisible chalk. Crocs. Ooh, I like that. All right, so you saw those brackets I just made, and they are 20 mil wide, 1.6 mil stainless. I just drilled a hole in them and then rounded the edge off just to fit inside where the valve cover bolt goes to. So I have two mounted on this side, and what I'm thinking is they're gonna face inwards like that, and then I'll just weld the backside. So if you were looking at it, you won't even actually see a weld. It'll look super clean. And you know, kind of just look like something was pressed out. And they fit really nicely in there, still able to get our bolts through. All right, so we are going to start to blend the welds that I've just done, and we want to make this obviously look like it is one piece. So I'm going to start off with our end one here, and we are going to eliminate this. And what I am using right now is the finger little air grinder. This thing is amazing, and it's really good for just knocking the top of the weld off. Again, inside here, there is a little area that sort of has a bit of spring to it, and I've noticed that using that after it's knocked off, I can kind of blend it slightly, and then I will show you other techniques as we go. So again, I am just I'm not pushing the tool in. I'm obviously trying not to use the corners by any means to dig in. I'm just trying to knock the top of that weld off. But now I'm going to show you just that little area inside there, and we're just going to buzz this over, and I'll kind of explain what it looks like. So you can see now that that is gone. And it's not taking a lot of material off as well. Like there's no dip or anything like that. There are plenty of other ways to do this. A hand file works really, really nice too if you want to just consistently take the top off and keep it flat. But I've just got used to using this, and it works well for this application. All right, step 2 is I'm using an old sanding disc that I've obviously cut, and I've used it a lot already. But this way, again, I've explained it lots, it's just making a little bit of contact. And because it is worn out, it's not going to take a lot of material. It's just going to help me sort of blend those out a little bit. So I'm just going to run this over. Next step is using these little brown guys, which I probably could get a new one because they are nice to use. So never throw them out. I always buy the 3-inch ones because then you can go ahead and cut these. So I'm just going to cut this guy. Now we have our little soft corners. So the corners are only going to be making contact, which helps you sort of blend. So if we come in here now, so you can see what I'm trying to do, and then we will do a couple more steps after this. All right, so now we're going to go over to the bench grinder where we have a red Scotch-Brite pad set up on here, and we have two different grits. We got one that's really fine and one that is a little bit more coarse. So I'm just going to run this around that red Scotch-Brite, and that is just going to start to take out some of those deeper sanding marks and help blend it. That's really helping eliminate those sanding marks. And you can still see a couple of them, so we'll just keep working at it. But you can kind of get the idea of what I'm trying to achieve here. So I'm just using our little carbide tips on the end of our air grinder, and I'm just going to try and oval these out. And it does work really well, so I'm just going to baby steps, clean it all out. Once it's cleaned, then I'm going to show you the next step on how to form it a little bit to make the spark plug wire come out a little nicer. So the overall width of this ends up being just a little bit over that. So I'm just able to travel around and clean that up. And then we will just use a little sanding one to clean the edges just to make sure they're not sharp. Okay, so now we got our holes all cleaned up. I want to shape them a little bit. And the reason why I'm doing that is just because the way the spark plug comes out, I want to have it a little bit easier to travel out so it's not on such a short edge, or a sharp edge, sorry. Seashores. So that shouldn't go anywhere. So I'm just going to use our torch. We're just going to heat it up a little bit, and then we're going to just pull it up. I just got a little bar here. It's actually a side profile of a boob, but now we're using it to to open it up. And yeah, again, I'll kind of explain once it's finished. That's nice. Okay, so that's got a nice flare going up, and now we're gonna push this end down. So same deal. So if you can imagine, that bar is the spark plug. It's gonna come out of that hole a lot nicer than if it was real sharp on the sides.
Land on his back.
Just give me a little nudge in the ass.
That actually worked. Did that flick you? Oh, yeah.
All right, so we got our holes done. Everything's cleaned up. They look really nice. We got an awesome little taper to them. What I want to do now is I'm going to polish the ends of these. So I've just run them right up until that fine red Scotch-Brite. I got a little bit of green rouge on there, and that's the stitched pad. And we're just going to try and polish just the ends. And I'm only going to go maybe 1.5 inches. Really nice shine to it. Okay, I think that is good. So we are going to leave those for now. I will do a finish buff on them, but for now this will work, as well as we want to make sure that these are all in line with our spark plug holes, which they are. So the tricky bit is trying to hold this as well as tack it. So I'm probably going to have to call in the garbage bin, aka Josh. Josh?
Josh!
Josh? So if you can hold that end for me. Yep. And make it parallelogram. So even use 2 hands if you want. So, yep. Because I'm not going to tack near you. I'm going to tack at this end. So you can use 2 hands to stabilize it out. Like
down the line as well, hey?
Yeah. But don't worry about down the line so much as you just want that to be, not this one, but that line to be parallel with this line here. And now figure out how I'm going to get that tack. I might have to come up this way.
55 mil. Okay. A little bit more. Okay.
The last little bit. So this is aluminum tape. When I was doing sound deadening stuff in the combi van, I had an extra roll of it. So I'm using that for protecting the edge so I can now sandblast all this area. And we're gonna keep our ends polished. I'm hoping it's gonna work. I can't see why it won't, but we got our little brackets on, nicely welded, ready to go. Once this is sandblasted and we pull it out, I won't touch it with my fingers or anything like that. We're gonna run back over here and I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna put on it, and you're gonna see the difference that it makes. It's really cool. And as you can see, when stainless is sandblasted, it gives the most beautiful finish. It's kind of this like really nice, almost golden kind of like sparkle to it. But I want to seal this, and before I touch it with my fingers, I'm going to use a little bit of leather balsam, which is like a conditioner or a wax for leather, like what we'd use on our Red Wings boots. But when you watch, I'll just put it on there. You can obviously see how it darkens it up a lot. And then we will wipe this off once we get a good amount on there. It's kind of hard to hold on. This is kind of the same stuff that we've used. Well, I've used beeswax before and stuff too. Whether or not it'll last is another question. I kind of like how maybe it will age after a while and oxidize a little bit. Pretty sure this wax is actually stolen from Ben's mum. It almost gives it like a pewtery look, or almost magnesium. Magnesium's a little bit darker, but so there you have it. So now it's given a really cool finish to it, and you can kind of touch it. It's not going to obviously leave any fingerprints now, but the big debut here is pulling off this tape, which can be sort of tedious. But bit of sand from the sandblaster still in there. You can see it's just that standard red garnet. Oh yeah. Where's the seam? Just give that a wipe. I'll use a microfiber. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's wicked. Let's get the other end off. I'm all excited now. I love experimenting with finishes and different looks and stuff. And you know, sometimes it looks like shit, but the cool thing is if it does, you can just go back to the drawing board. Utilize the same piece, sandblast it, polish it, sand it, do whatever you want to it. Have a look at that. And the cool thing is too, is we are still needing to order a couple of breathers, but if we get some nice stainless breathers or some old chrome, just simple round ones, this is really going to tie in all these little bits. So oh yeah. But now, I mean, with these on, they got a little bit of play to them, which is cool. But with these on, I mean, we're basically ready to start building some spark plug leads. So this is going to be the exciting bit, is seeing it all come together. What we're going to do right away is I'm going to cut this little end, and I'm going to cut it back about 5 to 10 mil, or say 1/4 inch. I'm going to use a little Stanley blade. And I'm not going to go all the way through, and I'm just going to roll it around, and that way I can then twist this piece, and then I can pull, if this works. Usually it pops off quite quickly. Must have not cut through. So there you go. And now this is the bit that we want to fold over and have on our crimp. So I'm going to squeeze these together just to make it a little easier. And then that is going to sit in behind. And then we have this jazzy little bracket crimp tool that came with the MSD wires years ago. And so that's going to sit in there. And then we are going to put this end on. We're going to jump over onto the vise. And then now that that's in the vise, I'm just going to squeeze this shut. And then we're going to open this up, pop this out, and we should have an even crimped end. So now this is our distributor end. And we are going to do number 7, I believe, counterclockwise. So second one over. So we're going to shoot it up. This guy here, and it's going to pop out the end, and this one is going to click onto our number 7 terminal. I'm going to allow a little bit too, so you can see I'm not pulling these real tight by any means, because we still need to have that area for retard and advance for the distributor. So there is still a little bit there. And on the other end, we will have some as well. So I'm going to grab our other crimp. So this is the straight. There is a 90-degree and a straight one as well. And so just depending on what style distributor cap or spark plugs you're using, or whatever situation you have. So I'm going to stick this on to our spark plug. And then I know that if I want to bring this in and over, depending on, we could go really short, we could go really long, but what I'd like to do is sort of match the other side as best we can. So I do know that they do face opposite ways, but I'm thinking maybe something like that, there, right there. So I'm just going to use my pliers here. All right, so now I can pull this guy off, and we will repeat the same exact procedure on this side. So I'm just going to roll that guy. I'm not pressing really hard either, because you definitely don't want to go through the core. So I'm going to fold this guy over like that. I'm going to grab our straight end. And then we will, might just grab a little bit more on there just to help hold it in there. And then again, same deal. I'm going to throw that in here. Ooh. I'm gonna feed this end up and we'll stick it on. And to start with, I'm gonna slide on these really cool nickel-plated spark plug boot covers from Noble Speed. They're just such a really neat piece. I really like the look of them, and Rick's done an amazing job designing and manufacturing them. I'm just using a little bit of dielectric grease as a bit of lubricant, and this will just help me slide our boot on there. I'll stick a bit in there, doesn't hurt. Okay, then we're gonna come over here. I'm gonna pull, I always leave this on so I know exactly which one it is so you don't mess up. So then I'll pull this off and I'll use this one for our next guy. So I'm gonna slide this on. I wanna hear that click. I'm gonna slide our boot down till it bottoms out. And then we're gonna slide this cover over top. Whoop. Just pop that out. They usually just come right through like that. And then that'll slide right up and over the spark plug itself. So now we have this end. I'm gonna feed this guy up. And then on this end, same deal, tiny little bit of grease. We'll grab our 90-degree boot and we will slide this one on. And clip it on. These are like the little, I don't know, to me, even the spark plug ends and like those little nickel plated boot covers, they're the little details I think that, you know, kind of get forgotten sometimes when people are creating a really nice build. And they just make such a difference when, you know, when you're looking at those finer details. It's just cool to you know, almost look at those bits that people aren't necessarily going to see. I think probably wrap it up there. The overall sort of idea, trying to replicate those early flathead style spark plug holders was really neat. And you know, adding Noble Speed Equipment's spark plugs and those really neat little nickel plated spark plug covers, you know, they kind of just were the cherry on top. So I think it's, yeah, it's looking really cool. I'm very happy with them. I think it's quite neat that we left the little polished ends and then sandblasted and waxed the rest of it. And we're just going to sort of play that out and see how you know, how that ages with Mother Nature. But yeah, the motor's obviously coming up really well, and you know, we're just adding little bits and pieces to it. You know, now we can sort of figure out what we're going to do with with headers. We have a few options. So I was looking last night, I found a set of cast manifolds that you can get for like a 65, 66 Mustang. They actually look really cool, and we could sort of modify them a little bit with some texturing and some cutting of webbings, and you know, make them look quite neat. And they would, from the photos, they look like they would work really well. Otherwise, we could run a set of a stainless setup. I could make a flange, and we could weld, you know, a full custom set of pipes up, which would be really neat too. So we haven't made up our mind yet exactly which route we're going to go with. And then, yeah, and then we're, you know, we're that much closer to being able to hear this thing run. And I think I'm just as excited as Ben is. It's going to be a pretty neat feat to, you know, it's to hear the thing, especially after how long this thing has been sitting for, which is almost like, yeah, it's been almost 2 decades, I believe. So hopefully you guys enjoyed watching me make those spark plug holders, and, you know, was able to create some really nice pieces from what Rick supplied with us at Noble Speed Equipment, which we'll also put his link in the description below. Make sure you jump over to his page. He creates a lot of amazing things by hand, and he does have all different colors of this, sells it by the foot or the meter, I believe, and can supply all your fittings for each end for whatever application you're after. Anyways, make sure you guys like, subscribe, hit notifications, and we will see you next week on Bennett's Customs. Thanks, guys.